I think most of us can agree that roller coasters are some of the greatest things to exist on this planet. When you go to ride a coaster, you are looking to have a great time, and usually you do. However, there's always just that one ride that you dread, that one ride that you get on just to get the cred and never step on it again. These are the rides that make you think, why does this exist? Aren't roller coasters supposed to be fun? They make you question what went wrong. These are the rides that belong on the list of worst roller coasters. Remember to keep in mind that I've only ridden 75 coasters, so I don't exactly have the largest selection to choose from. I also will not be including any kiddie coasters as they're not meant to do much. With that said, let's get on to the video. Coming in at the number 5 spot is going to be Space Mountain at Magic Kingdom. This has to be easily the most overrated coaster that I've ever ridden, or at least most overrated among the general public. The ride was built back in 1975 and the track has not aged particularly well. In many places, the ride can be quite jerky, and I even came off with a headache the first time I rode it. The worst part of the whole thing, though, is that the ride is quite boring. The whole ride consists of shallow, short drops and random turns. Now, you might think that this isn't a problem because it's meant to be a ride for kids. However, the height requirement is 48 inches. That isn't necessarily the case. One positive thing that I will say about the ride, though, is that it's located at the Magic Kingdom, so it's themed quite well, even if the theme isn't too coherent. However, that isn't enough to make up for the lack of thrill this ride has to offer. Number 4 is Laugh Track at Hershey Park. Here we have another indoor coaster to make the list. If I had to describe this coaster in a nutshell, I would say that it's just trying too hard. It tries to pretend like it's a spinning coaster, but instead it just feels like the seats stay facing the same direction as the cars go around the track. Plus, Laugh Track consistently gets one of the longest lines in the park because of its poor capacity. In fact, when I rode it, the ride had a 2.5 hour wait, which was just absolutely ridiculous. One way that I think they could have really helped out the ride is by adding in some audio effects, because you have all this 2D theming but no audio to pair it with. That's like having a Pez container without any of the candy. What is the point? Number 3 is Firebird at Six Flags America. On paper, Firebird looks like it could be a decent ride. It's a B&M floorless coaster, which aren't necessarily the greatest things in the world, but they are still fun rides. Plus, it has a sweet new paint job and recently had a refurbishment. It couldn't possibly be that bad, could it? Wrong. If you were in the front, your head is pinballing between your rock-hard over-the-shoulder restraints the whole ride. It isn't as bad in the back, but you still get some serious pain during and right after that wretched corkscrew. And that's not even to mention the rattle that this thing has. The whole ride feels as if you're in a massage chair, and not in a good way. But the roughness isn't even the worst part of the ride. The worst part is that the ride's just flat out boring. With the stand-up to floorless conversion, it got rid of basically all the intensity that you would have felt before. And B&M floorless coasters rely on their inversions to be the focus of the ride. But this one only has 2. Yes, 2 throughout the entirety of the ride. The rest of the ride, you were just meandering through pointless turn after pointless turn. Another thing that took a big hit with the conversion was the theming. Apocalypse was the best themed ride at Six Flags America because of all the wreckage that had surrounding it. When it was switched to Firebird, everything was taken out except for the fire effect. If I had to say something nice about the ride, it would be that the first drop and loop is decent, and the ride has a nice entrance sign, however almost everything else sucks. So sorry about this, guys. So now my mic has decided to commit not work. So now I'm recording with the mic that's inside my laptop, so it's not going to sound as good. Not that it sounded good before, but it's just... I'm sorry about this. Coming in at the number 2 spot is Corkscrew at Cedar Point. First, let me get this straight. I know how important this ride was when it opened as the first coaster with 3 inversions, and I sincerely hope that Cedar Point doesn't remove it anytime soon because of its historic value, but let's be real. The ride is just not good anymore. The main reason that it isn't great now is because of how rough it's gotten. Throughout the entire ride, your head is whacking the restraints back and forth, and there's absolutely nothing that you can do about it. It also doesn't help that it has the old aero development over the shoulder restraints that are basically equivalent to securing yourself in with a metal pole. If the ride had a lap bar like how New Revolution at Magic Mountain does, it'd probably still be an enjoyable ride. Corkscrew is also incredibly short, but I guess that kinda helps it because then you don't have to endure its wrath as long. However, the negatives of the ride don't end at the roughness. Corkscrew quite simply doesn't have a good layout. You start by going down a shallow 85-foot drop, go over an air tunnel that doesn't give any airtime, go through the loop, around a turn, and go through the 2 corkscrews. And then it's over. I understand that maybe in 1976 this is one of the best coasters in the world, but it just doesn't hold up anymore. And finally, coming into number 1 spot is Twist and Shout at Family Kingdom. Twist and Shout is a complete and utter cataclysm, and I doubt I'm using that word correctly. Anyway, where should I even start with this ride? Now I know what it feels like to be in a car accident. On every single turn, you were just jackhammered into the side of the car, which might sound good, but given the fact that these are the worst cars I've ever seen in a roller coaster, it's not. The restraints look as if they were given to my dog as a chew toy, and it was quite unsettling some of the noises that I heard coming from this ride. The ride looks awful, it desperately needs a repaint. The facade looked as if the park just found it in a dumpster and stuck it right in front of the ride. And the queue line, if you would even call it that, is even worse than those entrances to the rides that you would find at your local fair. I honestly cannot think of a single good thing to say about this pile. It honestly seemed as if I stumbled upon a ride that had been abandoned for 15 years and they just decided to run it again, without fixing it up a bit. That's obviously not what happened, but it sure seemed like it. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Remember that I'm not like saying that any of the manufacturers or people that worked on these rides are bad. It's just I didn't have a good experience. If you have any suggestions of ways I can improve If you have any suggestions of ways that I can improve my videos or have any ideas for future videos, please let me know in the comments. Not that I get many, but I do read all of your comments. Remember to like the video if you enjoyed it, and I will catch you guys later.